To our professor in EDMA 503, Philosophy and Psycho-sociological Foundations of Education, Dr. Leandro C. Turion, and to my co-masterants, good day to each and everyone. By the way, let me introduce myself first. I am Rhina B. Pedoche na di ay, just recently lang, charot. So, I am from Topon, Ubay, Bohol, and currently connected at Pedro Obernales National High School, Tubog, Ubay, Bohol, Ubay 1 District. So, before proceeding to our topic this morning, I have here a simple motivation ra gud po nga pang bata aron inon po tag bata. Charot lang. So, 4 picks, 1 word ra gud po. So, based on the given pictures, what do you think is the topic for today? Sa so, yung nakita diha, darot, maraming palakpak. So, it has a flower that blooms, so the pyramid. So, na teacher nga discuss, and then there are a group of students collaborating, no? Very good. So, it is all about the Bloom's taxonomy. And for that, today, our topic is all about Bloom's taxonomy, or the revised Bloom's taxonomy. So I am your reporter for this topic. And yeah, this topic is very familiar to us, no? Since almost every day we are using and are guided by this in achieving the objectives of our daily lessons, mga teachers, kaway-kaway. So i-refresh rin nato, especially as educators, kay basin usahay, no, makalimot pud bayata. But before that, let us also be guided by this following learning objectives. So first is to differentiate the Bloom's taxonomy, the original Bloom's taxonomy and the revised Bloom's taxonomy. So we will tackle what are the changes made nga nung gi-revise siya. And second is to examine the new terms and new emphasis of the revised Bloom's taxonomy. And lastly, let us going to explore the 6 levels or the hierarchy of the revised Bloom's taxonomy. So sample verbs and potential activities and possible the outputs or outcomes in each level. So moving on, let us first be acquainted of the man who is the mastermind of this Bloom's taxonomy. So accordingly, Dr. Bloom was an educational, or si Benjamin Bloom was an educational psychologist who studied the development of talent, achievement, and learning. So his works remains to be one of the most influential in education theory and the psychology of teaching and learning. And in the year 1956, as a result of discussions with colleagues in American Psychological Association, he edited the first volume of the book entitled Taxonomy of Education Objectives, the Classifications of Educational Goals, in which he outlined the hierarchical levels of learning which became known as Bloom's taxonomy. And so pasalamat ni Benjamin Bloom nga mo inagamit gyud sa ato ang pagka-teacher iyang Bloom's taxonomy. So what is Bloom's taxonomy? Ato na pong i-recap. Unsa jud ay ang Bloom's taxonomy? So Bloom's taxonomy attempts to classify learning stages from remembering facts to creating new ideas based on the acquired knowledge. So the idea of Bloom's taxonomy is that learning is a consecutive process. So nagsunod or naay proseso. Before applying a concept in real life, we must and we should understand it. Before we understand a concept, of course, we must remember the key facts related to it. Therefore, although initially described as a framework, it is now often depicted as a pyramid or a hierarchy. So, kana siya. So, mao na nino. Sa atong makita, we have here the original, sa left side ba na? Sa left side nga itong makita, and the revised sa right side. Alin ang unahon na to ang original? was first described in 1956 in the Book of Taxonomy of Educational Objectives by the American educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom, and of course with his co-authors Max Engelhardt, si Edward First, Walter Hill, and David Krathwohl. So their book classifies learning goals into categories. So we have the base of the pyramid, na knowledge, which is considered the first level of learning, so the basic one. Above it lies comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Each level above builds upon the one below. So you can only move up to the pyramid one step at a time. So dapat should na siya step. But we'll not focus on that. Instead, ako na lang na siyang gi-share, no? But we will focus more on the revised Bloom's taxonomy because the original Bloom's taxonomy was already reported by other reporter, si Ma'am Mauricio. Shout out, Ma'am. So para matagan ang atong mga learners og clearer instructional goals, a group of researchers led by Bloom's colleague David Krathwohl and one of Bloom's students, Lauren Anderson, ilang gi-revise. So mo ano ni siya in the year 2001. So the revised Bloom's taxonomy starts with remembering, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and ending with create. Giswap ang highest level of the taxonomy to highest level of taxonomy to be specific. So nakita ninyo diha na arrow. So ang synthesis into na nasa babaw sa revised create, and then ang evaluation sa 2001 or sa revised Bloom's taxonomy na ana sa ikalima nga level. Because also know the new curriculum is not all about spoon feeding, but instead it is a two-way process of learning. So the students can explore, wanna create, and of course the teachers are just going to facilitate. Mo nang ato apod na siyang gi-adapt ang revised Bloom's taxonomy. So the major changes, noun to verb form. So again, the major changes are in the terms and in the emphasis. So maganda ta sa terms. In the new variant, nouns were replaced by action verbs. The names of 6 major categories were changed from noun to verb forms. Kay ang verb manggod from the definition itself, an action word. So this categories is working, acting, and is continuously gumagalaw siya, naglihok jud. And because the taxonomy reflects different forms of thinking, ug tungod kay ang thinking or ang paghuna-huna is an active process. Agree? Oh, agree jud, no? Verbs were more accurate to be used. So the next bullet is that the knowledge category was renamed. Knowledge is a product of thinking and was inappropriate. So inappropriate ko na siya to describe a category of thinking and was replaced with the word remember or remembering instead. So comprehension became understanding and synthesis was renamed into creating in order to better reflect the nature of the thinking described by each category. So no na diha akong reference sa ubos. Then we have the change in emphasis. So in this, the revised Bloom's taxonomy, this is a more authentic tool for curriculum planning, instructional delivery, and assessment, and it's aimed at a broader audience. So tanan makater niya and can easily applied to all levels of schooling. And lastly, the revision emphasizes explanation and description of subcategories. And of course, to better understand the Bloom's taxonomy levels, let's take a closer look at each learning stage. Based on the book describing the revised framework, a taxonomy for learning, teaching, and assessing by Krathwohl and Anderson in the year 2001. And we have here a table from remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Let's start with remember. So it is to retrieving relevant knowledge from long-term memory. So we have here the example verbs are recognizing, recalling, another unsa pa man lang listing, memorizing, relating, no, showing, locating, distinguishing, like for give example. So it is to recall or recognition of specific information like kahibalo, like basic lang, so mga nahinumduman na nato. Like the questions, can the students recall or remember the information? So diba mo na siya basic. So mga possible activities and outcomes for this are, for example, make a story map showing the main events of the story. Make a timeline of your typical day, just as simple as that. Like make a concept map of the topic. So that's example of our remember or remembering. And we have understand, determining the meaning of instructional messages, including oral, written, and graphic communication. So we have here example verbs are interpreting, exemplifying, classifying, summarizing, no, interfering, comparing, explaining. Another, we have restating, describing, or reporting, mga identifying, discussing, or retelling. So mainly mga nasabtan or imuhang napalawman gikan sa imuhang nahinumduman, like understanding of given information. Like the question can be, can the student explain ideas or concepts? So possible activities and outcomes for this are write in your own words, so, diba? Kung sa imong nasabtan, nga na. Report to the class about a certain topic. That's understanding. Or retell in your own words, diba? In your opinion. So, unsa imong nasabdan. Or you paraphrase a chapter in a book. That's example of understanding or understand. Next, we have apply or applying. It is carrying out or using a procedure in a given situation. So we have here example verbs are executing, implementing. Another, we have translating, manipulating, exhibiting, illustrating, calculating, interpreting, so and many more. Like question, can students excuse me, can a student use the information in a new way? So diba gi-apply nimo imong nahibaw-an ug nasabtan. So kasagaran sa psychomotor ni nga domain ni nato magamit o maghimo tag learning objectives sa atong lesson plan. It is using strategies, concepts, principles, and theories in new situations. Like the mga potential activities and outcomes for this are like construct a model to demonstrate how it looks or works. Like make a diorama to illustrate an event. Or baka make a scrapbook about the area of study. Nga na ang apply. Next is analyze. So analyze is breaking material into its constituent parts and detecting how the parts relate to one another and to an overall structure or purpose. So we have here an example verbs: differentiating, organizing, attributing. So another, we have distinguishing, questioning, appraising, examining, experimenting, no, and investigating. So diri magsugod ang hats or higher order thinking skills. So in this level, analyze question, can the student distinguish between the different parts? So it is breaking information down into its component elements. So we have here our potential activities and products or outcomes, or like use a Venn diagram to show how two topics are the same and different. So di mo gi-analyze. Design a questionnaire to gather information, or survey classmates to find out what they think about a particular topic. So di ba nag-analyze ka. And next is evaluate, making judgments based on criteria and standards. So example verbs are checking, critiquing, judging, no? Rating, validating, predicting, assessing. So anhi nga parts, students will be able to evaluate, judge, or muhukom, muhatag sa ilhang assessment. Like questions, can the student justify a stand or decision? So ani na mag-debate. So kana siya example nag-evaluating. And then so potential activities and products for this is prepare and conduct a debate. So di ba? Prepare a list of criteria to judge. Evaluate the characters' actions in the story. Prepare a case to present your view about given topic or given situation. So, ikaw mismo ang mag-evaluate. Ikaw mismo ang mag-judge. And lastly, we have create or creating. Putting elements together to form a novel, coherent whole, or make an original product. So, we have here example verbs: generating, planning, producing, composing, no, formulating, improving, organizing, assembling. Muna ni ang highest level of the revised Bloom's taxonomy, where the students were able to create or innovate new products from their knowledge. So like culminating sa tanan nila nga mga nahibaw-an na sabtan. So questions can be, can students create a new product or new point of view? So potential activities and products for this or invent a machine, o diba, to do a specific task. Like design a robot to do your homework. Shala na kaayo, no? It is great, man. Creating. Or write a jingle to advertise a new product. Develop a menu for a new restaurant using a variety of healthy foods. So that's examples, some examples of create or creating. So that's it. We have remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So we should always remember the 6 levels of Bloom's revised taxonomy. Now, another, so muna siya parang jud mas mahibuan pa nato. Remember, recognizing and recalling facts, understanding of what the facts mean, applying the facts, rules, concepts, and ideas, analyze, breaking down information into component parts, evaluate, judging the value of information or ideas, and lastly, create, combining parts to make a new whole. Now, why Bloom's taxonomy is important. So here are some reasons nganong importante ang Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's taxonomy can help educators map learning within a single lesson or even a whole course. Using the taxonomy as a guide, trainers or we educators can identify clear instructional goals corresponding to each taxonomy level and create plans, of course, no, to achieve them. So mo ni atong guide. By setting achievable objectives for learners, instructors make them more active and responsible for their education, especially nowadays. We have diverse students, no, in this 21st century. And then the taxonomy can also be useful for evaluating learners correctly. And Bloom's taxonomy allows educators to gauge the learner's progress. It helps teachers determine which level every learner is on and assign them an individual task, and of course guided also with the help of multiple intelligence. And I have here a thought to ponder by Benjamin Bloom. Ningon siya, education must be increasingly concerned about the fullest development of all children and youth, and it will be the responsibility of the schools, kita mga teachers, to seek learning conditions which will enable each individual to reach the highest level of learning possible. And yeah, I guess wala pangutana bitaw. Here are my references. And once again, this has been your reporter for today, Rhina Pedoche. Charot. Thank you. And once again, good day everyone. Bye bye. Thank you for listening.